Sine Quadrant as a pre-modern tools of astronomical calculation. Okay. In Malay, we use the word falak for astronomy. And this instrument we call Rubuk Mujayab. It's a part of astrolab. Okay. Since we are in mood to welcome Ramadan for a couple of days, actually we're starting Ramadan with sighting young moon crescent. And when we want to sighting a young moon crescent, we must doing calculation and observation. This procedure in how when we want to start it, first day of Ramadan. There are two steps in astronomy. One is calculation, and the rest, the other one is observation. Calculation and observation are correlated. Okay. There are two steps in astronomy. First, we're doing calculation, and then we're doing observation. And then we can determine where we want to start first day of Ramadan. We want to know about prayer time. Okay. Okay. It is rare that we said not many instruments that we can use simultaneously as an instrument for calculation and for observation, such as astrolab. But in Malay world, astrolab is not popular. The popular one is quadrant. Quadrant like this. Okay. For the pre-modern era, people doing actual sighting, observe sun, observe moon, to predict about the time, to predict about the season, to predict about the phenomenon. And then when we are to doing calculation, we develop it to quadrant. This is a quadrant, this quadrant. And then quadrant can use to observation and calculation. And after, and the next step, people starting to develop what we call table, astronomical table. From astronomical table, or in Arabic we call it jadwal or zik. From the jadwal, we produce calendar, prayer time, and then the next development, people started to use scientific calculator. People started to use scientific calculator, and the calculation become faster and easy. And then nowadays we are using computer to make the calculation fast, and too many data can be produced. Okay, that's the evolutions of the instrument. Okay, now we concentrate to the science quadrant. Science quadrant is part of astrolab. In this paper presentation, I will try to elaborate the quantity aspect, the technical aspect, the what we call the formula of mathematical calculation in the Malay world. Then for our knowledge, calculation in Malay authorities or manuscript are not in form of quantitative, but it use a narrative, use a qualitative phrase, word. How we want to know that what is mathematical or trigonometry formula. Okay. Then, and this instrument has been used in Malay world at the same time before the inventions of the European tools. As you know, our Islamic scholar starting to writing and use the older manuscript in late 19th century. At the same time, when the Europe surveyor come to our region to doing its mapping. So what we can say that the use of this instrument by Malay scholars is earlier or in same time of invention of Europe tools. Okay. In Malay treatise about the quadrant, there is a part to talk about the introduction of quadrant parameters, method to measure the altitude of the sun and read the angle. This one to produce solar prayer time, and the usage of the zodiacal date. There is a calendar. The previous calendar, the pre-modern calendar, not as a Hijra or a Gregorian calendar, but it used a zodiac calendar, and the calculation to measure and read the time, to calculate prayer time, to determine coordinate of the place, latitude, longitude, central meridian, which is your direction, not direction, south direction, is not east-west direction. This for determine the direction to Mecca. Okay, this show to us that this instrument has been used to produce prayer time and to determine direction to Mecca. Okay. Since and this instrument also can be used to observe the height of the sun, to measure the height of the mountain and the depth of the well for life, for your daily work. We want to know which hill have source of water, so we want to measure. This is explained in all treatises of Malay astronomical manuscript. Also, we want to know about the depth of well, which we want to know either there's water or not. How we
Dr. Bohadin, could you please speed up? Your time is almost left. Finished.
Okay. Okay. Since we want to doing calculation in astronomy, there is a formula. There's a formula for doing calculation, but in Malay manuscript, it's not appear in quantitative, in symbol method, but it appear on narrative or quantitative method, called it as a Jayid Irtifaq Ba'da Kutur and Asal Mutlaq. How we solve it? This is our study, how this phrase, this narrative form are matching with trigonometry form. So we know about the value of the instrument, then we can use this instrument to develop as a basic of trigonometry studies, like Chinese civilization use abacus to doing arithmetic, to doing calculation. So we also can develop this instrument, Rubuk Mujayab or Sine Quadrant, to develop as a basic studies of trigonometry in mathematics.